Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com and look for summer camps at letsgotennis.com in our calendar because that will be relevant to today's conversation. But if you're a fan of bull shark sports, make sure you go to shop.letsgotennis.com, get yourself a hoodie or a hat. Also, we want to hear your story on the podcast. Our first story will be published within the next couple of weeks based on when you're watching this. And we're pretty excited to share it. We got some great, interesting stories, some really nice things that have happened and very entertaining stories that have come in. And we want to hear yours. We want to hear all the stories. And we also have some free gifts for those that share a story and get chosen on the podcast. We might share your story. Today, this is Youth Sports Talk with Coach Ben Hestley. Today's talk attempts to answer the question, does your summer need structure? Ben, ready to talk youth sports?
All right, let's get going.
All right, so today's conversation asks the question, does my summer or does your summer require structure? As we call it, kind of a parent's guide to getting the most from your summer camps. So, Ben, this is kind of one of the things you do. You're all wrapped up in this. You offer summer camps personally. You've been around this world for a while. Where would you like to start?
Well, first I'll say I'm super excited to hear the stories. That's awesome that you guys are doing that at Go Tennis. I can't wait to see the first one. I know
First one's
more
great.
people as they read them and hear them, they're gonna like, oh, I have a story similar, and they'll start sharing. I'm sure you're gonna get just enthralled with so many different stories. I can't wait to talk about the meatiest Alta match story.
Exactly.
That happened. But no, talking about summer camps, kind of our jumping off point today is this. We're at the beginning of the summer. It's been a long school year for many of us. We're taking a deep breath. We're hitting the pool. There's class parties, there's sleepovers, there's all that fun stuff that we do as the summer gets here. But now we're in a different season, if you will, and we're starting camps. And how can we help parents make them get the most out of the camp experience for the kid? A lot of these camps you booked months ago, you spend a lot of money on these camps. And while it is for childcare purposes in a lot of ways, we want to make sure that the parents are getting the best bang for their buck. And that starts with just at home, just making sure your child is prepared to go to whatever camp it is that they're going to.
So prepared, what does that look like? How do I prepare my kid based on this? So I might be going to a tennis camp as we're a Go Tennis. We promote tennis. Are there pickleball camps? We know there are baseball camps. You run kind of a multi-sport camp. So is the preparation similar for most of these? Water, towel, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the stuff like, yeah, and they'll tell you, right? Any good camp's going to send out an itinerary, and it's the simple stuff, right? Make sure you got your sunscreen. Make sure your child knows how to put sunscreen on. Like I have a rule that I don't put sunscreen on kids. Okay, there are liability things there that we don't want our coaches putting sunscreen on children, and whether it's spray sunscreen, whether it's rub on sunscreen, whatever your choice is, put sunscreen on before they come. Make sure they have sunscreen to reapply throughout the day. Water bottle, make sure they have water. Lunch and snacks. A lot of the camps, my camp in particular, there's no food service, right? So a lot of these camps, you have to bring your own food. There are sometimes baseball. I know like Emory baseball camp, for example, you could buy a hot dog for $2 or whatever. But is that really going to get your kid through the day? Supply them with plenty of snacks. And good snacks, right? Good snacks, good healthy snacks, good healthy lunch options. But more than that, it's like just making sure that you treat the camp the same way you would treat school, right? A lot of the camp structures are all the same. You roll in, there's a drop-off portion. Sometimes on day one, you take the kid in your group. And I get we have some apprehensive parents that if you're not familiar with the surroundings, you might be a little nervous about little Susie or little Timmy going into this gym or this field or whatever. But try to just use drop off how the coaches and the camp organizers want it, which is similar to a school drop off. You pull up, drop your kid off, have a good day, son and daughter, and off you go, right? That will help tremendously. and then be on time, right? Just like you have to be on time at school, be on time for the camp, right? There's nothing worse for a camp organizer than to like worry about some kid that's straggling late and coming in. I can tell you from experience, I've never had a kid that comes in half an hour or more late, unless, in rare case, maybe you have a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment or something that morning. So there's a reason you were late. But if you're just late because you slept in and had a late night last night, no kid ever comes in like, ready to rock when they're an hour late, right? They look like zombies, they got the dead eyes, they're all sleepy, and it's a struggle, right? So then you have to, as a camp director, camp coach, you have to roll off your group and help that kid. And it just can, um, while it's not that big a deal, it is kind of that big a deal because then it just derails the camp organization and kind of grouping as a whole.
Well, that goes to the lesson plans, and that's kind of a coach complaint or an organizer complaint that we've got lesson plans based on numbers, based on attendance. We assume these kids are going to be there and they're going over here, and the red team's going that way and the blue team's going that way, and they've got Coach Jimmy and Coach Jamie, right? So we've got a plan for what's going on, and that assumes your child is not only there, but also on time. So maybe that's a bit of a communication thing as well. Say, hey, sorry, I'm late, let you know, whatever that is. I'm sure some coaches use GroupMe or WhatsApp for those text kind of things. But either way, sometimes when we're on court or we're out there on the field, we're not checking the phone anymore. Like we've moved on into operations, and the drive-through thing, the drop-off scenario is over. We're not just checking. I like the watch, by the way. I've got one of those Apple Watches, and I really like it because I can just glance down and see, oh, all right, Johnny's on his way, he's late. Without having to grab the phone, without having to carry it around and actually get distracted. So those are nice. That's a nice extra little bonus to be able to have as a coach. But yeah, the parents are just, yeah, if you're being lazy or selfish, I'm looking at you, lazy and selfish parents. As a coach complaint, we would say, hey, please just be there on time. Now, this is different from the week off, right? So my week off that I'm not in a summer camp, we do want our kids to have some unstructured time. Or are you saying structure is good all summer? Where are we going with this?
No, I mean, well, I do think that you can be lenient with your structure, right? If it's an off week and you're just, hey, I'm working from home this week and I didn't put the kids in camp and they're just going to stay with me, and you want to let them sleep till 10 o'clock and hang out in their pajamas till lunchtime and watch movies, I mean, that's fine. That's also what summer's about. What I'm talking more about, or if you're at the beach and you want to, I mean, sometimes if you go stay at a resort or something, you have to eat breakfast by 8 o'clock or else
Right. Like,
shut it
come on,
down.
give me at least till 9.
They sort of like, I've been at a lot of resorts where like, lunch, breakfast is until 8, lunch is until 2, so dinner starts at 6. Like you're sort of their schedule sort of works your schedule out.
Uh-huh.
And so, but yeah, if it's an off week and you're at home and your mom or dad are going to work from home till, lunchtime, and then you go to grab some Chick-fil-A and then hit to the pool, that's a little different circumstance. What we're talking more about is the camps, right? You're in this camp, and because a lot of times we use it for childcare. I need to, I gotta have. I just talked to a parent this week. Like I gotta have this kid in because like, my wife's out of town and I have to have them do something this week. So they're looking for anything, like in
Right.
any camp, right? But if you sign up for a camp, particularly a sports camp, that sports camp, I gotta think is going to be super structured. And it doesn't have to be a sports camp. It could be a technology camp. It could be a music camp. It could be an art camp. It doesn't matter. Like you said, anybody who runs a camp is going to be organized and have a structure to the day. And it really can derail that structure if you're treating it like it's just like a babysitting service. Like, hey, I mean, it is for childcare, but we're providing you a service of a specialty that we're an expertise that we have to teach that to your kid and give your kid that experience in our area of expertise. And therefore you should respect that and not treat it like we're just a daycare center and just drop them off whenever. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a complaint that goes nowhere from our point of view too, because looking at the parent that uses summer camps as daycare because both parents work or for whatever reasons, you're just getting your kid into someone else's hands for a while. For me, I personally don't appreciate that concept, but I'm the homeschool type. Like I'm the one that wants to be around my own kid, and that's just how I view it. But that parent that's going to drop their kids off anywhere because they got to go to work, at some point, the coach's point of view falls on deaf ears. There is no convincing that parent to not do it that way because that's just what they have either chosen to do or what they have to do for that week. So yeah, hopefully they pick something the kid likes, right? But what I see a lot of, especially at the beginner tennis level, and you probably see it in your camps sometimes, is my kids need some more outside. We're just trying to get them off the iPad. They only love to do video games or whatever, and we need them into something different. I'm like, well, your kid's gonna hate this, and they don't want to be here. So that's become my problem as the coach.
Yeah, especially if you struggle with even getting them there, right? And we've had these conversations before. I mean, in my camps, you have two different types of kids. You have the kid that, like you said, needs to get off the iPad. We're so worried about them being inside all the time and being dormant. So we're going to sign them up for this super active sports camp. Okay. Or we have the other end of the continuum, which is the kid that's like super into sports, loves sports, plays lots of sports, and they want a sports camp because they just want to play more sports. So you got kids that love sports and love physical outdoor activity on one end, and on the other end, you got kids who want to be inside in the dark all day, sitting on the iPad, right? We got to get them outside. The biggest thing I can say is it always go back to this, starts at home and getting the kids in a good bedtime routine. Hey, we got camp tomorrow. Camp, check in for camp is from 8:30 to 9. So we got to be there at least by 9. All right. So let's get to bed early. Okay. Then let's get them up, get them breakfast, right? All those sorts of things. Make sure they're hydrated. Make sure they have everything they need in whatever that camp guide is that the camp sent you. But the main thing is take them to drop off and drop them off, right? And like I said earlier, I know sometimes parents, well, I want to see what's going on at camp and who's there and all this, and got to bring Billy's stuff in. Like part of this also is not learning the sport; it's learning the life skill of preparing for the sport, right? And so part of that is the kid walking into camp by himself or herself with their bag, with their racket, with their lunchbox, with their water. They can figure it out, right? Mom doesn't have to go scope out the best area of the clubhouse for Billy to put his stuff down,
But she's
that's
going
part
to.
that, but that's part of the camp, right? And so I'll use an example. Last summer, I had a kid who he didn't come to camp. He literally didn't come to camp the whole week. And what happened is his, day one, he doesn't want to go, right? And I can't give you parenting strategies on, I mean, I'm not going to do it here because we don't have enough time, but there's different parenting strategies on how to get your kid in the car and go to camp. Okay. But what happened is here's what happened. So I told the mom, kid doesn't come at all on Monday. Sorry, we couldn't make it today. Tuesday, kid doesn't come at all. Okay. Wednesday, the kid comes and he won't get out of the car. Like he's literally in the parking lot. I go out and talk to the kid and try to coax him and all this. And he knows me. It's not like I'm foreign to him. I actually coach. He was in my spring session of tennis. So he knows who I am. He knows me as coach. So we do that Wednesday. Thursday, same thing. He doesn't want to get out of the car. He doesn't want to go. And then so I talked to the mom. I said, look, let me send the kids out. Again, here we go again, right? Because of something that happened 4 days ago. Now I'm standing there on a Thursday morning talking to a parent for 40 minutes in the parking lot away from the other 30 kids that might need my attention.
Right.
So here's the quick story. What happened? They went out of town the weekend before. Okay. Did they get home with Sunday at 5:00? No, they get home Sunday at like 9 p.m. from the lake house. Okay. So they go to the lake for the weekend. They come home at 9 p.m. Okay. Then the kid's all riled up. He gets to bed at 10. Now mom's she's got to work the next day from home. She's working from home. Lets him sleep in a little bit. So he sleeps until like 10 o'clock. Then he gets up, gets a little breakfast, like camp. We've been at camp for 2 hours at this point. Kid doesn't want to go, so he doesn't go that day. Okay. Next day, same thing. He just doesn't want to go. Mom said he just doesn't want to go. I'm like, what is he doing? She's like, well, I have to work, so I just let him play on the iPad.
Yeah.
and watch movies. I'm like, okay, so you got this kid who, so we get to day 3 and you bring him and he won't even go inside because he knows what the consequence is. The consequence for not going to campus, I get to go home and sit inside all day.
Yep.
So how are you going to convince that kid to go outside, go to this camp and play with other kids in 90-degree weather when he knows if he, I said, he's testing you. I told her just like this. I said, he's testing you. He knows that if he can ride this out, this uncomfortable situation of me trying to get him out of the car and you trying to get him out of the car and all this, um, he knows that he can just ride this wave out, then eventually you'll break down and he'll get to go back home and get on the iPad.
He'll get what he actually wants. Yep. Kid wins.
Kid wins. And then I said, that's why I said, you've done this for 3 days. It's done now. Like he's not,
right. Don't bother.
you know,
You've lost this one.
He knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's tough for us because we want to look at the parent and go, what's wrong with you? Right. But then we go home and we realize, okay, now I got to practice what I preach because we got kids too.
Yeah, and it's hard for us, man, because I'm the same way. Like, I'm thankful my kids have a basketball hoop and they go out and shoot hoops on their own. You know, and we have a dog, so part of their evening responsibilities is take the dog out and feed the dog and stuff like that. But because yeah, you get home from coaching, man, you're cashed out. You're like, I'm done. I just want to sit on the couch and have a beer and watch, you know, catch the Braves game. You know, and you know, your kids are like, Dad, you want to, can you come outside? You want to go throw? You want to go play? You know, like, oh yeah, you know,
yes.
But yeah, we have to kind of, you know, well, they say cowboy up and go out there and do it when we don't even feel like doing it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. We spend all day rolling our eyes at the parent that can't get it right, and we go home and realize it's just a reminder that we need, at least we can go home and get it right.
Yeah.
No, and in this case, maybe it's not right. Maybe it's just different ways of doing things, and that's fine, and I get it. But so, Ben, did we answer the question? Does my summer need structure? It sounds like it needs at least more structure than not. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think so. And just respect what you signed up for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't say like, oh, it's just camp. Oh, it's just summer camp. Like just, and it teaches your kid to respect, you know, what they have to do, right? Oh, I got this camp and I've got to be on time for it. And I've got to have my water, my sunscreen and my bag packed and my lunchbox and all that. Yeah. You know, if you dismiss those things, then it's just going to roll down to your kid dismissing those things.
I agree. Ben Hesley, this has been Youth Sports Talk with Coach Ben. Thank you so much. Oh, I got to mention also, we were talking about water bottles, towels, things like that. Check out our shop, letsgotennis.com. The Bull Shark Sports Collection, especially if you're a Bull Shark fan. In this case, get a water bottle, get a towel, get something like that. Support your coach. We've got other coaches out there as well. If your coach doesn't have a shop, get them in there, because wouldn't it be nice to say, hey, go get your Bull Shark Sports water bottle and your Bull Shark Sports towel. We're going to the Bull Shark Sports summer camp. And maybe that, as a parenting strategy, gets the kids excited. But sorry, figured I'd give you a plug.
Hey, plug for you too, man. I appreciate you setting that up. Appreciate you doing the camp shirts for us this summer. That's going to be super cool. The kids love swag. Kids love swag. Whether it's a shirt, a hat, a towel, whatever. And I love, for me, I see kids at school, I see kids in neighborhoods sporting those Bull Shark Sports shirts. They love wearing it, right? And it makes them feel like a part of something. And there you go, mom and dad. That could help you get them out the door a little easier in the morning as well.
Little self-serving strategy. Go spend money in our shop for parents.
It'll make your life easier.
Exactly. Ben, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
All right. Have a great week, everybody.